Hey everyone, nature, it's a master of the unexpected. Across the planet, evolution has cooked up a cast of bizarre-looking creatures that have unbelievably adapted to survival in the most strange ways. Today we're going to take a look at 15 of the strangest animal adaptations. Starting with number 15, the Proboscis monkey with a built-in trumpet. Deep in the swampy mangroves and forests of Borneo, an animal swings through the trees that looks like it wandered out of a cartoon. With a protruding belly, lanky limbs, and most notably a massive pendulous nose, the Proboscis monkey stands out even in a region known for bizarre wildlife. But its odd appearance is no joke. That enormous nose is an acoustic amplifier, and it plays a central role in communication, mating, and even intimidation. Male proboscis monkeys have the most pronounced noses, fleshy, bulbous appendages that can hang over their mouths or droop to the sides. The reason? Well, it makes them louder. The enlarged nasal cavity allows males to produce deep, resonant calls that travel further through the forest. These honking vocalizations help assert dominance, attract females, and deter rival males without the need for any physical confrontation. The nose's role in sexual selection is critical. Female proboscis monkeys show a clear preference for larger-nosed males, likely because the size and sound of the nose correlate with the male's health and social status. In evolutionary terms, the bigger the nose, the better the genes, or so the logic goes in the world of proboscis monkeys. But nasal oddities are just the beginning. Proboscis monkeys are also some of the best swimmers among the primates. Their partially webbed feet and hands allow them to swim long distances, and they often leap from treetops into the water. They use swimming not just for fun, but as a means to escape predators or travel between fragmented patches of forest. Crocodiles are their main aquatic threat, which make their acrobatic dives all the more daring. Then there's their gut. Proboscis monkeys have a highly specialized multi-chambered stomach that ferments plant material in a manner similar to cows. This allows them to digest leaves and unripe fruit, which are low in nutrients and hard to process. Their pot-bellied appearance isn't due to fat, it's a consequence of their digestive adaptation, just like my potbelly. Socially, they live in groups with one dominant male, multiple females, and their offspring. Bachelor groups of males also exist, and conflicts between the groups can be resolved with calls, threats, and occasionally physical altercations, though those are rare. More often, the honking settles the matter. The proboscis monkey's habitat is rapidly shrinking, though, due to logging, palm oil plantations, and human settlements. Despite being protected by law in parts of Borneo, enforcement there is weak. Habitat corridors and river buffer zones are now essential to keeping the populations connected and genetically healthy. The river deltas and mangrove forests of Borneo look like leafy veins running through emerald skin. And hidden in those twisting branches, echoing through the canopy, is a monkey whose face has a built-in trumpet, and whose adaptation is one of nature's weirdest musical instruments. Number 14, the Saiga antelope, alien nose. At first glance, the Saiga antelope doesn't even look real. With its oversized, drooping nose that resembles something out of a fantasy novel or alien landscape, this odd herbivore is one of the most unusual-looking mammals. Native to the grasslands and steppes of Central Asia, particularly in Kazakhstan, Mongolia, and parts of Russia, the Saiga has roamed these regions since the last ice age. Its bizarre nose isn't just for show, it's a highly specialized adaptation that helps this antelope survive in an environment of extremes. So what's with the nose? Well, that fleshy, bulbous thing serves multiple functions. In the summer, the Saiga's nose filters out the dust kicked up by herds moving across the dry steppes. It acts like a built-in air purifier. In the winters, the same nose warms up the cold air before it reaches the animal's lungs, helping it breathe comfortably in temperatures that can plummet well below -40°C. It's kind of like an example of an all-weather biological HVAC system. But the Saiga isn't just strange in appearance. Its migratory behavior is one of the most dramatic in the animal kingdom. In search of fresh grazing grounds and water, Saiga herds can travel hundreds of kilometers across the open plains. Their migrations once rivaled those of African wildebeests, with tens of thousands moving as one. Sadly, though, these great movements have been drastically reduced by habitat loss, fencing, and poaching. Speaking of poaching, the saiga has been hunted extensively for its horns, which are used in traditional Chinese medicine. This has had a devastating impact, especially on the males, which are the only ones to carry those horns. In some populations, males have become so rare that breeding collapses entirely. Despite bans and protections, though, illegal hunting remains a threat. In 2015, a mysterious bacterial infection swept through the saiga population in Kazakhstan. Now, what made it truly strange was the speed and scale of the mortality. Over 200,000 animals died in just a few weeks, more than 60% of the global population. Scientists later traced it to a normally harmless bacterium, which went rogue under unusual environmental conditions. It was an extinction-level event that was narrowly avoided thanks to a few surviving herds. Ecologically, the saiga plays a critical role. By grazing large areas of grassland, they do help maintain the health of the steppe ecosystem, encouraging plant diversity and providing food for predators. Their movements also spread seeds and influence soil conditions, making them a keystone species. But the plains are changing. Climate shifts, human encroachment, and infrastructure developments are fragmenting the saiga's world. Yet somewhere out there, barely visible from above, a herd of alien-nosed antelopes marches on, carrying with them a lineage as old as mammoths, and a nose that evolution tailored for both blizzards and dust storms. Number 13. The horned lizard, a blood-squirting reptile. The horned lizard is a creature that looks like a relic of a lost world. It's like a miniature dinosaur that somehow wandered into the modern desert. With a spiny armor of scales and a fierce prehistoric appearance, this squat little reptile blends into the dusty terrains of the southwestern United States and northern Mexico. But beyond its impressive camouflage and spiky aesthetics lies one of the most bizarre and shocking defensive adaptations in the animal kingdom. It can shoot blood from its eyes. Yep, when threatened, the horned lizard doesn't just flee, hiss, or puff itself up. Instead, it builds pressure in the sinus cavities around its eyes until the blood vessels there rupture, releasing a targeted jet of blood that can shoot up to 5 feet. This blood isn't just for show either. It contains chemicals that are especially noxious to canine predators like foxes, coyotes, and dogs. When a would-be attacker gets a mouthful of this foul-tasting blood, it often drops the lizard and leaves it alone. The lizard's skin can absorb water from the ground, and in desert environments where standing water is rare, these lizards have developed a network of microscopic channels in their skin that funnel dew or rainwater towards its mouth. They can literally drink through their feet. During rare rainstorms, the lizards will orient their body to maximize water absorption, allowing it to hydrate in moments that other animals might miss. But what makes them really fascinating isn't just that blood-squirting ability, though that certainly catches attention. It's the suite of adaptations that speak to millions of years of evolution in a harsh environment. Each scale, spike, and behavior has a purpose, and despite its fierce appearance, this lizard remains a delicate symbol of how specialized and bizarre life can become when shaped by extreme conditions. The desert landscape where they live seems barren and lifeless from above, just endless stretches of dust and rock. But hidden among the sagebrush and gravel is a creature that looks like a fossil that came to life, capable of wielding a weapon no mammal dares to match: its own blood. Number 12. The hairy frog. Deep in the rainforests of Central Africa, there exists an amphibian that seems to belong more in the realm of myth than biology. It's known as the hairy frog, or more ominously, the horror frog. This unassuming creature has one of the most unsettling defensive adaptations in the animal kingdom. It breaks its own bones to produce claws. To fully appreciate the horror frog's bizarre biology, you have to understand what it's up against. Living in the moist forests of Cameroon and parts of Equatorial Guinea, this frog has to defend itself from snakes, birds, and even curious primates. While most frogs rely on camouflage, poison, or jumping to escape danger, the hairy frog goes full action hero. When it's threatened, it contracts its muscles to snap tiny bones in its toe pads, forcing sharp claws through its skin, turning its own skeleton into a weapon. These claws are not made of keratin like those of mammals, but of pure bone. Once deployed, they can slice into the skin of predators or even startle them enough for the frog to escape. But it does come at a cost. The injury to itself has to heal. There is still some debate among biologists about whether or not the claws retract after using it, or if the frog has to regrow part of its toe each time, kind of like Wolverine in the X-Men regenerating the damage. This frog's physiology changes many assumptions about amphibians. Frogs are generally seen as soft, passive creatures. But this frog has evolved into a solution that no other vertebrate has, using its own skeleton as a hidden weapon. That's awesome. It's the only known animal to deliberately break its own bones for combat. The forests of Cameroon might look lush and quiet, broken only by the meandering rivers and canopy gaps from above. But down beneath the foliage, where the moisture clings to every leaf and predators roam in the shadows, this tiny amphibian waits with claws at the ready, claws forged from its own bones. Number 11. The lyrebird with a sonic superpower. In the eucalyptus forests of southeastern Australia, a bird sings a song that doesn't quite make sense. It might begin with the chirping of another bird, then shift into the sound of a camera shutter, a chainsaw, a barking dog, or even a car alarm. Meet the superb lyrebird, an animal whose adaptation lies not in camouflage, venom, or physical strength, but in its voice. It is the undisputed mimic in the animal kingdom. The lyrebird's ability to impersonate almost any sound it hears is so precise that audio engineers have mistaken its recordings for the real thing. This uncanny vocal mimicry evolved as a mating display. Males can perform complex songs that incorporate dozens of different sound effects, all strung together in a continuous symphony of deception. The more varied and impressive the song, the more likely it is to attract females. Underneath this vocal virtuosity lies a vocal organ, unlike any other bird. While most birds sing using a single set of vocal cords, the syrinx, lyrebirds have an unusually complex syrinx structure that allows them to control multiple frequencies at once. Essentially, they can harmonize with themselves. This kind of control allows for exact replication of both pitch and rhythm, giving their impressions a stunning realism. But this adaptation comes with a trade-off. Lyrebirds spend an enormous portion of their time practicing and performing these songs, often hours a day. In environments where every moment matters for survival, dedicating that much energy to sound might seem inefficient. Yet for lyrebirds, reproductive success is tightly linked to their sonic creativity. The best performers get the mates. Young males practice tirelessly, tweaking their routines over the years to build the most attractive and convincing performances. In wild populations, a single male might mimic as many as 20 different birds and a dozen artificial sounds within one song. The lyrebirds are increasingly fragmented due to logging, bushfires, and urban expansion. Yet within the forests, often reduced to narrow corridors, one of nature's most bizarre talents echoes through the trees, a creature whose weapon is sound, whose legacy is mimicry, and whose adaptation borders on the supernatural. Number 10. The naked mole rat. In the arid soils of East Africa, a creature unlike any other mammal burrows through the darkness in colonies as large as 300 individuals. The naked mole rat is a hairless, wrinkled, pinkish rodent that seems to defy nearly every rule in the mammalian playbook. It doesn't regulate its body temperature, it barely feels pain, it resists cancer, it thrives on low oxygen, and it lives in eusocial colonies with a single breeding queen, a structure more often associated with ants or bees than warm-blooded vertebrates. Well, let's start with its appearance. The naked mole rat looks like a sausage with teeth, lacking fur and covered in loose, folded skin. It's remarkably well adapted to life underground, where temperatures and humidity remain relatively stable. Its protruding incisors are used like shovels to excavate tunnels, and its eyes are so tiny that it is functionally blind. But what the naked mole rat lacks in sight, it makes up for with specialization. One of the cool things about this animal is its resistance to pain. Researchers discovered that naked mole rats are insensitive to certain kinds of pain, especially the kind caused by acid or capsaicin. That's the chemical that makes chili peppers hot. Their nerves simply don't transmit those signals the same way that other mammals do. This adaptation likely evolved in response to the buildup of carbon dioxide and acidic conditions in their poorly ventilated tunnels. Then there's the cancer resistance. Despite having long lifespans for rodents, some live over 30 years, naked mole rats rarely, if ever, develop cancer. Scientists have been studying this phenomenon for years, hoping to unlock secrets that could apply to human medicine. Their cells express a unique version of a protein called P16 that prevents cells from multiplying uncontrollably, one of the hallmarks of cancerous growth. And adding to the strangeness, naked mole rats are the only known cold-blooded mammal. They don't maintain a constant internal body temperature and instead depend on the ambient warmth of their burrows. This adaptation reduces their metabolic needs, which is critical in an environment where food, primarily underground tubers, is scarce. Their oxygen efficiency is also otherworldly. In hypoxic environments where most mammals would suffocate, naked mole rats simply slow their metabolism and switch to anaerobic energy production. They can survive with as little as 2% oxygen, a trait that has fascinated researchers looking into treatments for stroke and heart attack victims. Nothing gives away the presence of a naked mole rat colony. The East African savannas appear dry and desolate, that are pockmarked by shrubs and termite mounds. But hidden beneath this unassuming surface is a labyrinth of tunnels, housing a mammalian society that mimics insect colonies, feels no pain, and may hold the key to defeating cancer. Number 9. The pangolin, an armored mammal. In Africa and Asia, roam a creature that seems like it was assembled from spare parts. With a body covered in hard scales and a tongue longer than its body, the pangolin is one of the most peculiar mammals alive. Often mistaken for a reptile due to the armor-like appearance, the pangolin is in fact distant cousin to cats, dogs, and humans. But what truly sets it apart is the singular defense mechanism. When threatened, the pangolin rolls into a near-perfect ball of impenetrable armor. Each scale on the pangolin's body is made of keratin. Now that's the same material as human fingernails. These overlapping plates act like chainmail, shielding it from claws, teeth, and even spears in some cases. When a predator approaches, the pangolin tucks in its head and limbs, using powerful muscles, to cinch itself into a solid sphere. Lions have been observed trying and failing to pry one open. Their claws are pretty awesome too, long and curved. They're used to tear into termite mounds and logs, but they also make walking on flat surfaces a bit awkward. Pangolins often walk on their knuckles, similar to how gorillas do, to avoid dulling their digging tools. But sadly, the pangolin's bizarre biology has also made it the most trafficked animal in the world. Its scales are in high demand in traditional medicine, especially in parts of Asia, and despite there being no scientific basis for their efficacy. This means that it's also considered a delicacy in some cultures, and that has led to a dramatic decline in pangolin populations. The evolutionary path that led to the pangolin is long and mysterious. Fossil records show that the pangolin ancestors have existed for over 60 million years. Yet their lineage remains largely isolated from other mammalian groups. They are true evolutionary oddities, survivors of a prehistoric world that shaped them into armored insectivores. Pangolin habitats stretch across fragmented forests and savannas, and they appear serene and untouched from above. Yet on the ground, these shy creatures roll through the underbrush, carrying with them a suit of armor that no predator can pierce, and a tragic vulnerability that only humans can address. Number 8. The archer fish, the sharpshooter in the water. In the brackish estuaries of Southeast Asia and northern Australia lives a fish that shouldn't be able to do what it does. The archer fish. It may look like an ordinary tropical fish at first glance, sleek, silver, and streamlined. But beneath that humble exterior is one of the most bizarre and precise hunting mechanisms in the animal kingdom. The fish shoots, and it shoots with deadly accuracy. The archer fish hunts insects and small animals perched on branches or leaves above the water surface, not by jumping, not by luring, but by spitting out a high-powered jet of water with enough force to knock the prey off its perch. It is essentially a biological sniper operating underwater. Now, to make this work, the archerfish uses its specialized mouth to create a narrow, high-velocity stream of water. It forms a groove along the top of its tongue and the roof of its mouth, then snaps its gill covers and forces the water through the groove at remarkable speed. It can fire multiple jets in quick succession and correct its aim between shots. And it does all this while accounting for the distortion caused by the water's surface, meaning it instinctively understands the physics of refraction. Even more incredible, it learns. Young archerfish are poor shots, but they improve over time through trial and error. Studies show that they can even adjust the size and force of the water jet depending on the distance and weight of the target. Some individuals will even vary their angle to compensate for wind or moving prey. This is not simple reflexes, it's adaptive behavior. From an evolutionary standpoint, this adaptation is so strange and so unique that no other fish has ever developed anything like it. While some fish use water jets to stir sediment or defend territory, the archerfish alone has weaponized water into a ballistic tool for precision hunting. On the murky edges of the mangrove forests, they may look serene and still, but beneath that surface, a silent hunter watches the branches. And when the time is right, it fires, not with claws, not with teeth, but with a blast of water aimed like a rifle. It's a fish that understands geometry, physics, and force, even if it doesn't know it. Number 7. The Basilisk lizard. In the rainforests of Central and South America, a small green reptile dashes across the riverbanks and suddenly, astonishingly, sprints across the surface of the water. This surreal feat has earned it the nickname Jesus lizard. But its real name is the Basilisk lizard. With its fringed toes, lightweight body, and explosive speed, this basilisk has evolved one of the most visually spectacular adaptations in the animal kingdom, the ability to run across water for dozens of feet. Now, at first glance, the basilisk doesn't look like a miracle worker. It resembles a common iguana, long-tailed, bright green with a crested back. But when startled by a predator, often a bird, snake, or larger mammal, this reptile bolts toward the nearest body of water. Unlike other lizards that can swim or dive, the basilisk skips the swimming entirely. It rises onto its hind legs and sprints upright across the water's surface in a flurry of motion. Well, how does it do this? Well, the answer lies in physics, biology, and millions of years of evolutionary refinement. Its hind feet have large, scaled, fringed toes that slap the water hard and fast. As each foot strikes the surface, it creates a pocket of air that momentarily supports the lizard's weight. If it moves fast enough, around 8 to 10 feet per second, it can dash across the water before gravity pulls it under. Its arms are tucked back for balance, and its tail acts like a counterweight and a rudder. But water walking isn't the lizard's only trick. They're excellent climbers and swimmers, and if they do sink, they can remain submerged for up to 30 minutes, hiding from danger until the coast is clear. From a developmental standpoint, young basilisks are adept at water running. As they grow larger and heavier, their ability decreases. Adults do still perform the trick, but typically cover shorter distances. Seeing the dense canopies of the Amazon and Central American forests hide the true drama unfolding below, seeing rivers and creeks glint in the sunlight, their surfaces are fleeting stages of these water-walking lizards, streaks of motion that vanish before a drone or even satellite could ever capture the image of. Number 6. The Landstreaked tenre. In Madagascar, there lives a creature that seems like a bizarre mashup of a porcupine, hedgehog, and a shrew. The Landstreaked tenre might look like a rodent, but it is in fact one of the strangest mammals on Earth. With a vivid yellow-black striped body, bristling quills, and a truly weird superpower communicating through soundless vibrations, this tiny animal reveals just how inventive evolution can be. This adaptation is the use of stridulation. That's a behavior previously believed to be exclusive to insects and some reptiles. When threatened or communicating, this tenre rubs together specialized spines on its back to produce ultrasonic signals. These signals are too high-pitched for most predators to hear, but can be detected by other tenres in the vicinity. In essence, the animal communicates by playing its own built-in string instrument. The mechanism is refined. It's got a set of modified spines called the quill organ located in the middle of its neck. These quills are not just longer and stiffer, but they're grooved in a way that allows them to generate high frequencies when rubbed together. It's the only known mammal to do this. Well, why stridulation? Well, in the dense undergrowth of Madagascar, visibility is limited, and sound doesn't really travel that far through the damp vegetation. By producing these ultrasonic frequencies, the tenre ensures that its signals cut through the ambient noise and reach its family. But beyond the musical abilities, the Landstreaked tenre is also a master of visual deterrence. It's got yellow and black stripes, and they serve as a warning coloration that signals to potential predators that it's dangerous or unpalatable. And it doesn't bluff. Those quills aren't just for sound. When threatened, it erects them and may even jab at predators with these spine clusters, delivering a painful surprise. The rainforest canopy appears as a continuous green sea from above, but under the foliage, amid that leaf litter and shadows, an animal is performing a silent symphony on its back, warning, guiding, and claiming its place as nature's most musical mammal. Number 5. The Okapi, a zebra-giraffe hybrid. In the Democratic Republic of the Congo, an animal once thought to be mythical quietly steps through the underbrush. With the hindquarters of a zebra, the head of a giraffe, and the tongue that seems more like a tentacle, the Okapi is so strange that early Western scientists didn't believe it was real. Often called the forest giraffe, it's a biological contradiction that reveals evolution's capacity for wonder. Despite the zebra-like stripes, the Okapi's closest living relative is the giraffe. Both species belong to the family Giraffidae, and their similarities become clear when you look past the coloring. Okapi share the giraffe's unique gait, in which the legs on each side move together rather than alternately, a feature that's almost unknown outside this family. They also share a long, prehensile tongue capable of stripping leaves, grooming their ears, and cleaning their eyelids. But while giraffes evolved to dominate the open savanna, the Okapi went the other direction. It became a specialist of dense, humid forests. These horizontal stripes on its legs help blend into the dappled light of the rainforest, mimicking shafts of light breaking through the leaves. Their reproductive behavior is equally quiet. Mothers hide their calves in secluded spots, and the young remain motionless and silent for the first weeks of life. That's an anti-predator strategy that's surprisingly effective. And diet-wise, the Okapi is a specialist, feeding on over 100 species of rainforest plants, some of which are toxic to other animals. It uses that long tongue to pluck leaves and fruit and to remove potentially poisonous parts of certain plants. It even consumes clay and charcoal, possibly as a form of natural detoxification. The Ituri rainforest is a dense green expanse. Seeing it from above, it shows roads and logging tracks begin to fracture like cracks in glass. Yet somewhere in there, a creature moves silently, a relic of deep time, a mammal that straddles two evolutionary worlds, half zebra, half giraffe, and wholly its own. Number 4. The Maned Wolf. In the open grasslands of South America's Cerrado region, an animal stalks through the tall grass like a myth come to life. With the body of a fox, the legs of a deer, and the scent of a skunk, the maned wolf defies classification. It's not a fox, it's not a wolf, not even a dog. It's a strange solitary canid with a suite of adaptations as peculiar as its appearance. The first thing people notice about the maned wolf is its legs. They're disproportionately long, longer than any other canid species. This stilt-like design is evolved for not speed, but for visibility. The maned wolf hunts in tall grass, and its long legs allow it to see and stalk prey above the vegetation, much like a heron. This adaptation gives it a unique gait, an elegant, almost slow-motion lope that seems theatrical compared to other carnivores. And despite being a canid, the maned wolf is not a pack hunter. It is a solitary, shy, and primarily nocturnal animal. It doesn't howl like a wolf. Instead, it uses a roar bark, a deep guttural vocalization that sounds like something between a dog's bark and a lion's growl. Their diet is another oddity. Though they're classified as carnivores, maned wolves are omnivorous, and more than 50% of their diet consists of plant material. They consume fruit, tubers, insects, and small vertebrates. A key item in their diet is the wolf apple, a tomato-like fruit rich in water and nutrients, believed to aid kidney health and parasite resistance. Genetically, the maned wolf is a true loner. It's got no close relatives among modern canids, having branched off early from the common ancestor shared with wolves, jackals, and foxes. It represents a unique experiment, one that nature tried once and never repeated. From above, the South American grasslands may seem open and quiet, but moving through that patchwork of gold and green is a ghost-like figure on stilts, leaving behind the scent of warning and the echoes of a roar bark. A fox that isn't a fox, a hunter that smells like cannabis, and a mammal so strange it stands entirely alone in its family tree. Number 3. The Ai. In Madagascar, a shadow leaps through the canopy with glowing eyes and an eerie skeletal hand. This is the Ai, a lemur so strange that early Europeans thought it was a bad omen. With rodent-like teeth, bat-like ears, and a long, witchy middle finger, it remains one of the most peculiar primates on the planet, and its adaptation for survival is as equally haunting. Let's begin with that finger. The Ai's third digit is elongated, skinny, and double-jointed. It appears deformed, but in fact it's one of the most specialized limbs in the animal kingdom. It uses this creepy digit for percussive foraging. That's a technique known as tap scanning. It rapidly taps on tree bark and wood, listening for the hollow echoes that indicate insect larvae tunneling beneath the surface. Once a target's found, it uses its rodent-like incisors to gnaw through the bark, then inserts that skeletal finger to skewer or scoop out its meal. But that's not the only strangeness. The Ai never stops growing its incisors, just like rodents, requiring constant gnawing to keep them trimmed. This convergence with rodents is so extreme that for years scientists debated whether the Ai was a primate at all. It is, but it sits on a very distinct branch of the primate family tree. Nocturnal and arboreal, Ai's have large ears and wide eyes that enhance their ability to navigate the dark forest. Their appearance is pretty startling. Disheveled fur, a bushy tail longer than their body, and a face that looks perpetually shocked. Combined with the eerie tapping and glowing eyes, they've long been associated with superstition and death. In some Malagasy cultures, Ai's are considered omens of misfortune. Traditional beliefs say that if one points its finger at you, death will soon follow. As a result, they are sometimes killed on sight. This is a tragic misunderstanding coupled with deforestation, and it's placed the Ai under threat. In captivity, though, Ai's remain curious and intelligent, using that bizarre digit to explore objects and solve puzzles. Studying them has helped scientists better understand convergent evolution, niche specialization, and the limits of primate diversity. Within the remaining wilderness there, the Ai continues its nocturnal rituals, tapping the bark like a ghost looking for secrets. It's a primate with the feeding habits of a bird, the teeth of a rodent, and the hunting tools of a demon. A true anomaly hiding in the trees. Number 2. The Giant Anteater. Towering over the South American savanna on tall, shaggy limbs is the giant anteater. It looks like a fantasy creature rendered in grayscale. Its elongated snout, impossibly long tongue, and striking black and white coat make it one of the most visually distinct mammals on Earth. But its appearance is just the beginning. What sets this animal apart is its bizarre, ultra-specialized method of feeding, one that doesn't involve teeth at all. The giant anteater is completely edentulous. That means it has no teeth. Instead, it's equipped with a sticky, vacuum-like tongue that can shoot in and out of its tubular mouth up to 150 times per minute. Measuring up to 2 feet in length, this tongue is coated in thick saliva and barbs that help it collect thousands of ants and termites in mere minutes. Rather than chew, the anteater grinds up its food inside its muscular stomach, which contains hard particles it ingests while foraging. This mechanical digestion mimics the function of a gizzard in birds. Because its prey often fights back, the anteater also has a thick, leathery hide that protects it from insect bites while it raids nests. Despite its gentle appearance, though, it is capable of some serious defense. It has massive forelimbs with scythe-like claws that can grow over 4 inches long. When threatened, it can rear back on its hind legs and tail, and it uses its arms to swipe with incredible power. There have been cases of anteaters fending off big cats or even injuring humans who venture too close. The anteater is mostly solitary, and it roams vast territories in search of food. Its hearing and eyesight are poor, but its sense of smell is 40 times stronger than that of humans, making it an elite tracker. From above, the anteater's movements are invisible. They're lost among the grasses and trees and shadows of South America's cerrado and rainforests. But hidden in that underbrush is an animal that hunts with a tongue, fights with claws, and sleeps beneath its own tail, a predator built on silence, speed, and suction. Number 1. The Shoebill. Standing nearly 5 feet tall with piercing yellow eyes and a prehistoric beak the size of a loaf of bread, the shoebill stork looks like it flew straight out of the Cretaceous period. Found in the papyrus swamps of central tropical Africa, this avian oddity is not just bizarre in appearance, it's got one of the most rare and terrifying feeding adaptations in the bird world. Now, the shoebill's namesake is its massive shoe-shaped bill. At first glance, it appears comical, but in reality, it is a brutal killing tool. Unlike the pointed beaks of most fish-eating birds, the shoebill's is wide, hollow-tipped, and razor-edged, ideal for grabbing, crushing, and decapitating prey. This bird routinely takes down lungfish, eels, baby crocodiles, and even full-grown monitor lizards. But it's not just the bill that's unsettling, it's the hunting strategy. They stand motionless for hours in swampy water, statues among the reeds, their blue-gray feathers blending into the shadows. When prey ventures too close, the bird explodes in a burst of movement, slamming its bill shut with bone-snapping force. This ambush technique is precise. Even among birds of prey, few kill with such focused aggression. Inside of that bill contains sharp hooks used to grip and kill prey. Often, after catching something, the shoebill performs a death shake, violently thrashing its victim before swallowing it whole. It will even decapitate larger prey to make it easier to swallow. That's a rare behavior in birds. Shoebills also engage in one of the most ruthless parenting tactics in the avian world, obligate siblicide. The female typically lays 2 eggs, but only one chick survives. The stronger hatchling kills its sibling shortly after birth, ensuring it receives all the parental resources. Evolution seems to have doubled down on efficiency no matter the cost. Plus, the shoebill's posture, its eerie stillness and unblinking gaze have earned it a reputation as the death bird. Videos of its stare have gone viral for good reason. It seems to look right through you, like it knows something you don't. In the swamplands of the Nile Basin and Congo Basin, they look like green mosaics that are laced with water. But hidden among them, nearly invisible, are these solitary giants waiting like gargoyles to strike. The shoebill may be rare, but it is real, and it might be the closest living thing we have to a dinosaur today.